Luis Huertas is a migrant from Colombia. He's among the more than 6,000 migrants who arrived in Washington between April and July from Texas and Arizona. He was assaulted in the nation's capital shortly after he arrived.
He attacked me and punched me very hard.
Huerta says he went to a local hospital, but without documents, he didn't receive immediate medical attention. His case is not the exception. Local officials say although Washington is a sanctuary city, it is overwhelmed by the flow of migrants. The mayor's office even requested help from the federal government.
Money, time, and human resources are needed to be able to cover because the D.C. government alone would not be able to cover this need.
Nonprofits such as the Central American Resource Center are helping migrants arriving from the border. Initially, volunteers provided them with information, food, and shelter for 3 days. But more than 140 buses have arrived in Washington from Texas and Arizona over a 4-month span. The demand has overwhelmed nonprofits.
So when people come now because they keep coming, they will find that it is not much. There is less than there was before, and what there was before was not enough.
Recently, the Biden administration directed the Federal Emergency Management Agency to provide basic care for those arriving in Washington. But even with these resources, advocates say it is not enough.
Initially, there were families who welcomed immigrants into their own homes. We had a 2-week shelter for a very small group, but opportunities to have long-term housing for immigrants have truly never existed.
Thousands of migrants have passed through Washington in the past 4 months, carrying a document known as a notice to appear, which they received at the U.S. Mexico border. Luis Paoli, who has worked for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement as Deputy Chief Counsel, says the document doesn't grant legal status.
It's a document that basically says, you entered the United States, you are from such country, you were here illegally, and you have to go to an immigration judge to process your immigration case.
Paoli says the document gives migrants 30 days to check in with U.S. immigration authorities once they arrive at their destination in the United States.
And if the person doesn't show up, then the judge can issue a deportation order in absentia.
Immigration courts have a backlog of 1.6 million cases of asylum and other immigration applications. The wait time for a hearing on a claim is about 5 years. Immigration attorney Miriam Osorio says there's a lot of misinformation going around.
People believe that they arrive here and I ask for asylum, they're going to let me in. I am going to have a work permit. I am going to have benefits. And I'm going to start living peacefully in the United States. That's not so true.
Huertas arrived at that same conclusion.
It's impossible to get opportunities, a job, maybe a home when doors are closed to you just because you don't have papers.
Every week, about 500 migrants like Huertas arrive in Washington facing similar challenges. Aline Barros with Diva Cash, VOA News, Washington.